Yep.
Check it out. You'll see a little bit of hike to hunt, a little bit of hike to fly.
I'm always fascinated by people who are willing to jump off cliffs. Some extreme sport.
Sport with the hunting, and it's going to be...
And it's going to involve a dark energy charger.
Yeah, and I'm going to be like, oh, God. And these are just like super durable cables. You know, the heads and the cable, the interior cable, are rated for 80 pounds. That's 3 times what, you know, an Apple cable is rated at.
Yeah. So Gritty 15 is the code. Gritty 15.
Yeah.
And you can get 15% off a dark energy charger at Dark Energy Tech on Instagram. I follow you guys. You got a big following on there. I mean,
it's know what? People have been awesome.
Based on, your lack of skills, I'm impressed. It's a very, very good following.
This is unfiltered with Gritty Bowman. That's why we love these guys. Let's do it.
Ready.
All right, folks. Welcome to the Gritty Bowman podcast. We're coming at you from, we're in Utah. What city am I in?
You're in Provo.
Provo. I knew that. Provo, Utah. I'm at Dark Energy Tech here with my friend Garrett Aida, right?
You even said that right.
And I lived a couple years in Japan as well.
Yeah.
And Chad Nelson from Gritty Angler. And, dude, happy to be here. Anyone who follows Gritty Bowman knows that we have been a big fan of the Dark Energy chargers for a long time.
Hoorah, love that.
We were using them before, I think Aaron got his hands on these before anybody else we knew.
Oh, yeah.
Really early on.
He was one of the first. Yeah.
And then he proceeded to go home, drive over it with a car, drop it in a lake.
Did he?
He froze it in the freezer.
Yeah.
He did all the stuff that you say you could do with it to see if you were a liar.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that we didn't really anticipate, like walking out of the booth and then going and trying out all the stuff that we told him he could do. You know, but hey, that was it's what it's built for. So that was awesome.
Well, once he did it, and he proved to himself that it did in fact hold up to the claims on the package.
Mm-hmm.
Got him really excited about it, and then he and I started using them in the field, and I was just telling you offline, I use this Dark Energy charger probably. It's one of those tools that I use every day, and I'm not joking.
You're like
not
me,
exaggerating.
Man. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, and prior to this charger, I have a whole pile of them at home that are garbage, that crap out on me or didn't last very long.
Other brands,
yeah. Right? And so Aaron and I use these in the snow, in the freezing cold, in the rain, on all of our hunts. Aaron, the only thing Aaron complains about is that he wants them to be twice as big.
Yes.
So,
which is interesting.
He said that. I remember that post that he made.
He figured out a way to do it. He said, I called Dark Energy and I told them they need to make a bigger one. And then they said, that they weren't going to do it anytime soon. So he figured out if you put two together and duct tape them, then you have
twice the power. Twice the power.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So he posted that just to be a smart ass.
Yeah, that was.
I think these are the perfect size.
That, you know what, to be honest, for the general public,
yeah,
this is the optimal amount of power.
I like how thin it is, because where I keep this in my backpack and in my truck, I can just slide it into pockets that I can't get some of those fatter
true
alternative batteries in.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, if you duct tape it together, you got twice the power.
That's true.
So we used them this year, and we beat the crud out of them. But I actually find myself, so I use it in the backcountry, of course. Like I charge the GoPro. We both charge our phones, and especially when we're doing live hunt updates, this is the only way to go. We're able to keep our iPhone, his Android, all fully charged each day, so we can talk about how he missed 3 times, mule deer. And make it public. Maybe I talked about it more than he did, but no, we can do that. So, but I use this thing for day-to-day use to run Gritty Bowman. like crazy. So I can run my Sony A6300 off of this and run it in a tree stand all day.
Yeah.
And we were telling you earlier, these trade shows, we just got done show season, as did you.
Well, you know what?
You're still in it.
Yeah, we got one happening right now. We got ISE in Salt Lake happening right now.
That's right.
But, Gritty Bowman could not have got through all the shows without these dark energy chargers.
Well, I'll use them to run my Sony cameras, my GoPro, not just to charge them, but, well, for my GoPro, I will charge the GoPro a lot with it, but I'll use it to run it as a power source.
Oh,
and then I can just run the cameras all day. Same with the Zoom H6 that I use to record all my audio. I'll run it. I ran it all week, in fact, at the Hunt Expo with one dark energy without charging it.
You're kidding. Really? Wow. And you guys were on that thing nonstop.
Nonstop.
Yep. I kept walking by and you guys were chatting away.
Dude, I do use it all the time for all the camera gear and audio gear that I'm running, and just really happy with it. So one of the things I want to talk about with you today was just kind of about dark energy. Like we did a podcast earlier, and folks can go check out the earlier podcast episode that we did last summer when we were at Snowbird at the Total Archery Challenge.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We kind of talked about your background, who you are, how you got started. But what I'm curious about for this episode of Gritty Bowman is I want to know a little bit more about how things are going with dark energy.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, it's been, maybe about 18, 19, 20 months or so. That's how old we are. I mean, it's still a young company, and it's just been like, I don't know if you guys rodeo or anything, but it's like you're on that bull and you're just trying to stay on. And
you're less than 2 years old?
Yeah.
That is crazy because dark energy's everywhere.
That's, and I'm super grateful for that because, like you said, right? When I'm around town, I built this for, and when I say I mean we, but I'm I have a product development background. And so I was, personally involved in developing what's in your hands right now. And during that process, I just wanted to make what I personally needed. And so, and that was something that could, be good around town, but also take the rigors of, freezing cold temperatures and being in the backcountry, and you never know what's going to happen. And you might be out on a horseback and, it falls out of your pack and a horse steps on it. You know what I mean? It has to be able to take
abuse.
Anything. Oh, yeah.
And cold. Like so many of my chargers, as soon as it gets cold, the battery's dead.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Well, outdoorsmen are not gentle on gear, typically.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And so I wanted to make it for me and for, the other guys like myself out there and other guys who, are more hardcore than I am. And so, and that's kind of where, a lot of the influence came from. And, the great thing is that, people have enjoyed it, and that makes me super happy, obviously.
I'm just going to drop this on you real quick. You're probably not, what kind of return rate do you guys experience?
Return rate, very, very low, below the industry standard. And
what is the industry standard? Like,
so
3% or
actually, yeah, so there's a couple,
2 to 3,
there's a couple numbers there. As far as like defect ratios, you're typically getting, for tech companies, I don't know what it is for any other type of product, but, in technology, 3% is considered a pretty reasonable number. And 3% out of, 2,000, 5,000 pieces or something like that. It's still a relatively small number.
Yeah.
And for us, we're significantly below that. And so I think ours is in the, under 1%.
That's really good.
And so, and that's, that's part of the engineering team, but that's also, the great people that we have running manufacturing, and they're just, up all night working hard for us. So,
dude, I have a manufacturing background in a previous life, and
really,
if you're getting under 1%,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
if
cool.
you're getting under 1%, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, they're good people. It's not me.
Well, I would say that these I don't know how many Aaron and I have friends of ours and Gritty Bowman listeners have picked up these and used them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot, and I have yet to have someone come back and say, "Hey, this doesn't work," or "I broke it," or whatever. So I'm sure there are those people out there.
Yeah, that definitely.
'Cause it's not perfect, but gosh, I mean, so Aaron and I probably own. I mean, we probably, between my wife who steals mine all the time, I think
Those
we've got
wives?
I think we got 4 of them in the house that are on regular rotation, and I have a couple that I use every day.
Yeah.
And for a year and a half now, and they just keep going.
That's
and
awesome.
I haven't had, and the same thing is I've experienced the same thing with friends of ours. Chad has them. All our buddies, all the guys in the hunting community that I know that we work with, all have them. And so far, they fit a need that was out there that other products just didn't seem to hit. I mean, in a way, it's pretty genius because you do have other competitors who create a product that they market for the backcountry, but none of them have come out with something, as far as I could tell, that's as durable, as long-lasting, as reliable. And really, when it comes to power, I don't want to, like Aaron makes jokes about Anchor chargers.
Does he?
Which I have a few.
Oh, yeah. Lay them on me, man. I want to hear some.
Because his joke is, because he has a couple big ones, and he's the joke was that, you take an Anchor charger into the mountains and it lives up to its name because it's just an anchor.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't serve any other purpose except add weight to your backpack because it fails on you.
Yeah.
Well, and it's designed just like that. It's a big block, as you know.
Yeah.
And there's no good place to store it in your pack or in your gear.
Well, I have like 5 of them, and they all. I just thought that's kind of how chargers worked, is that they just crap out after 3 months, after so many cycles or whatever. Now and then I would get lucky and I'd have one last, for quite a bit of use. But I had for me, the crap out rate was like 3 out of 4. That's horrible.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
But they were $20 or $30, some of these, so it was like, well. But the problem was I ended up packing 2 or 3 with me because I didn't know which one was going to stop working.
Yeah.
And mostly with blacktail hunting in Oregon, I don't know if it was the moisture in the air because it's wet, but I kept it dry, but there's still a lot of moisture in the air. But I would use it and hang it in a tree. I mean, some people who see my blacktail film have seen me.
Were you running a GoPro off of it or what?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I'd run the GoPro, and the GoPro would run on 1080p. It'd give me, with a card, I could run it. Well, I could get 10 hours of video in a day.
Yeah.
With the charger running it.
That's really good.
Swapping out the card, but otherwise I could just leave it running because I never know when a buck was going to come in.
For sure.
Right?
Were you in a tree stand?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
By myself.
That's perfect, yeah.
And so I didn't want to have to reach up and turn it on. And you never know what you might capture. And in fact, in one of the parts of my video, I dropped my backpack out of the tree. And you wouldn't have that video if it wasn't just running all the time.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I was in the process of setting it up, and it woke the entire forest. It was not a good. I was a little angry, but my point is that I used those chargers extensively for years.
He's silent, He's just a silent, deadly hunter.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I snuck in. I took me like 20 minutes.
I'm over here.
Slowly climb.
Dear, I'm over
tree.
Here. This is Brian Call. I've just entered the
After
forest.
It took me like 40 minutes to still hunt to the stand. And then I just drop a bomb, dude. Like the whole forest went quiet. That was the only day in like a 7-day window where I didn't see a single deer.
Oh, wow.
And that's not the first time you've dropped something out of a tree either.
Hey, it happens, I fell out of the tree this year with Snyder.
Did you?
Like the tree stand buckled on you, or you just
No, we were up in
off?
a tree and we had the rope, and I was harnessed in a tree saddle, an old tree saddle that I love.
Yeah.
And I just got to Colorado a few days earlier, and then the hunt was starting, and not a lot of prep time, but. So we use a prusik knot on the rope
Mm-hmm.
and you can hang from that rope. And we also call it the do not die knot. And it holds you in place, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, for a prusik knot to work, you really need to have the main rope needs to be fatter than the rope with the prusik.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or prusik or whatever guy wants. Someone's gonna probably correct me, but anyway, they were kind of more same size. We knew it was a little bit of a problem, but
doesn't that cause for a little bit more movement then?
Well, what will happen is the grip, it just doesn't grip it.
Yeah.
So we had it around, tied it on, and I'm like, Aaron's looking at me. I'm like, it's not quite the right size, but it's pretty good. And I lean back. And I'm like, I think this is good. And then I let go, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It was a controlled fall, but it was fast. And I had like a 50-pound backpack on, and because I hadn't hung it up yet, so I'm just like, and I'm grabbing the rope, and it's burning my hand. I got these rope burns.
That's a lot of weight.
And Aaron turns around and looks, and he just sees my eyes wide, and I'm just falling flat. And I was trying to get my feet under me,
still up in the
but
tree.
the pack just tilted me, and I just hit the ground. And he's looking down at me, and he's trying not to laugh. He's like, he's got this serious look on my face. And then as soon as I smiled, he lost it, dude. He thought that was pretty dark funny.
As soon as he knew you weren't dead.
As soon as he knew I was okay, he's like...
You landed square on your back, just like
a turtle, like flat, yeah.
It's probably a good thing you had the pack on then.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was pretty fast fall, but I mean, I was still tied to it, but it just went zzz. And Aaron just heard the rope zipping down, and then he saw my hands grabbing it and letting go and grabbing it because it was burning my hands.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've had some rope burns before, and that is the worst.
Yeah, I had a big old burn, but, I was fine. I just climbed back up there and then tied a better knot.
That's why you wear gloves when you're climbing trees.
Serious.
I don't know. Manly men don't wear gloves very often.
Yeah.
If you're really gritty, gloves are optional.
I'm still getting over a few wounds from hand wounds myself. Actually,
yeah.
It's funny because I was telling him earlier. So I do some paragliding. Right?
Yeah, which I was mentioning is insanity. Something must be wrong with a human being who paraglides.
Okay, so I'm an adrenaline junkie, right?
Yeah, here obviously a bit of a thrill seeker.
Yeah, and paragliding is awesome, and I'll make this short because it's not about paragliding, right? But the cool thing is, like, paragliding, it's this big wing, it's collapsible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you put it in this like monster backpack, you look like a turtle, right?
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, it's like the perfect preseason prep, right? Spring, summer are huge flying times, right?
Yeah.
And so,
because how much do these things weigh?
I mean, you have the small ones that you see a lot of like Red Bull guys wearing and like skiing off mountains and stuff, and those are pretty light, anywhere from like 10 to 20 pounds or something like that. But mine is like 50 to 60 pounds, and I've got like a helmet on with my GoPro on top and all that kind of gear.
Yeah.
And you're a good follow on Instagram where people can see your insanity.
You know what? I'm starting to post a little bit more faithfully, but
what's your handle on Instagram?
It's Garrett Ida. I mean,
AIDA.
Yeah, so Garrett, 2 R's, 2 T's, AIDA.
Yep.
Check it out. You'll see a little bit of hike to hunt, a little bit of hike to fly.
I'm always fascinated by people who are willing to jump off cliffs or slopes, who are willing to get in the air with a parachute or a glider or anything.
Oh man!
I mean, it just seems like they have a mild death wish. It just seems a little insane.
Dude, you're just aging yourself.
You know what,
dude? I remember telling my grandpa's a pilot. I remember talking to him. I'm like, my cousin Ben was with me. Ben's like, man, I just want to skydive. I want to skydive so bad.
Yeah.
And my grandpa turned to him and said, why would any sane human being want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane?
Yeah.
And that right there sums me up. Like, it don't make sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, here's the thing, okay? I mean, when you're paragliding, it's like a Ferrari, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can drive it as slow and comfortably and peacefully as you want, or you can like let the horses out. and like go crazy and get the adrenaline.
Speed, it's the fact that you're 3,000 feet in the air.
Okay, well here's the comment.
And people cannot. You can't see the wind. It's not like it's got color. How do you know when some like Mack truck wind thing's not going to come over and whack you?
I'm glad you said that, because it's kind of like surfing. Mm-hmm. And the thing is with surfing, it might be a
wave,
foot, foot tall swell. It might be, two overhead, 12 feet or whatever, or it might be like 60 feet. Well, the thing is, when you're flying, it's kind of similar, and it might be, the wave's invisible.
That's my thing.
And all of a sudden,
but nobody who dies paragliding was like, that wasn't intentional.
You know what? It's there's things to look for. There's cues to look for. And bad weather conditions, and so that's like those are your cues, right?
Yeah.
But
I suppose
you know what? You do have to be smart about it. And if you're reckless, you'll die.
The thing is, if you survive the first 100 times, then you learn this. But what do you do the first time you go paragliding and you don't know any of these cues?
Oh man, it's
scare the crap out of you.
Oh, it's really scary. I have to admit, my first few times were pretty scary. But I was gonna say, so with the so that one story, this was last week. I'm in Provo. For anyone who doesn't know Utah, in Provo, there's like this big Y on the mountain, and there's like this perfect place to
letter Y.
There's a big a letter
big
Y.
white letter Y for the college.
yeah, for the school that's in the city, and we fly off this mountain all the time. I could hike up it and get to this takeoff zone in 35 minutes, and I got this 35-minute straight, like 60 pounds on the back, and it is the perfect prep. It's the best conditioning ever, and it's a pretty steep gradient.
Well, I was going to say, I know it's steep because the football team uses that trail to train sometimes.
Yeah,
they do every year. They make the guys run to the Y as a conditioning test.
Oh yeah, and so it's great for the hunt, conditioning. And then the great thing is you get to the top and set up your wing, and then bam, you fly off, and
you don't have to hike down.
You don't have to hike down. Well, or plus, honestly, you can hit thermals and fly up, gain altitude, and just cross country fly. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do. So it helps the hunting.
Where do you land?
You know what? A big open patch. Anything that you can.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll land in like this Kiwanis Park that's nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a trail nearby, so I'll land there. Anywhere really.
That's great. How long you been doing this?
I've been paragliding for about 5 years or so, but sometimes work makes it tough. But it's a thrill, and one of the next things for me. It's tough because I try to fit it in between like hunts, and there's always a hunting season.
Yeah.
We've got
turkey and bears coming up, and
I've got
You do a lot of bird hunting, don't you?
I do. You know what? That's what people see on my Instagram when I started posting more of my hunts and whatnot. And so, I do what's in season, really.
Yeah.
And so this weekend, the Salt Lake City ISC. Next weekend, going up to Northern California, and we're going to do some hogs.
Oh,
so
that's fun.
Yeah.
We've talked about that.
Have you guys done hogs?
We actually haven't, but
we've been trying to do it
for
2 years, and
I know.
Get you on a hog hunt, man.
Yeah.
I
would like to do that.
For sure.
Are you going with an outfitter?
Just some buds up there. Yeah, they have. They have a big, ranch. I don't think it's not for.
There's
hogs,
not a lot of
public
public land there in California.
I had a hog hunt booked here in Utah actually a couple of years ago.
Really?
And there was only 2 ranches or 2 places in Utah that offered it, and the state shut them down. So,
oh no way!
The year I had it booked, they got shut down, and
that's too bad.
Yeah, I was bummed about that. Really bummed.
Hey, well, let's plan a time.
Yeah,
we need to.
Let's do it.
So on the Charger deal, as you guys have grown, we were joking about it earlier. I was kind of following along with your social media posts, and you guys need to step up your game. We talked about this offline.
Oh yeah.
It's so funny. Like to see a company as young, as you guys are and growing. Same for me. Like there's so much I've learned in the last 6 months, year, 2 years about growing a business and stuff and how to leverage things. And I think it's kind of cool because I sit there and I can look at how much you don't know about.
Thanks,
no offense.
Brian.
About
Brian's a swell guy.
For example, like marketing your own product.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the product because seriously, you guys have done really well in spite of some weak spots.
I'm loving the honesty.
Yeah,
I'm digging it.
And honestly,
it's straight up.
Yeah,
this is an open show.
And no,
tell
but
me how
it's
tell me
cool
how you
though.
really feel.
It's great. Like I am impressed.
Thank you.
And I expect
awesome.
you to step up your game.
Oh,
now
we
that
are.
you,
We're doing it, guys. You know what? just so you know, before we started the podcast, I got a little gritty Bowman slap in the face. For
social media.
it was
how I'm supposed to be doing our marketing, and it was eye opening. I mean, I'm not a marketer, people. I'm a
designer.
I'm
engineer.
I'm a hunter, engineer, paraglider.
Yeah.
So
thrill seeker.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, if there's any way you can amp up a hunt, I'm totally down. Like, I have some ideas. I don't want to tell everybody because I want to be the first one to do these ideas. But stay tuned. I'm going to mix the, adrenaline and something extreme.
Some extreme sport.
Sport with the hunting, and it's going to be.
And it's going to involve a dark energy. Track.
Yeah, and I'm going to be like, something like that.
So, Garrett, you probably covered this on the previous podcast, but I love the name, Dark Energy.
Oh, thank you.
And the model, Poseidon.
Sweet.
2 cool names. Where did you come up with those?
So, Poseidon or Dark Energy. I was sitting on a couch in my brainstorming position, and for everyone who's watching, it looks like this. This is my brainstorming position. Nice. I'm lying. I got my feet up, my head back.
Is that like a yoga position?
All that. It's funny how many people have been talking to me about yoga lately, actually. But no, it's like this. I got my feet up. I got my head back. All the blood flows to my head. Right?
Yeah, makes sense.
I was just like, you know what? I want to name the company something powerful, something that has to do with energy, and it's like everywhere, and it's got some mystery to it, and it's almost like, and then I was just kind of flown like this, and I was like, wait a second, that sounds a lot like Dark Energy, right? And I come from a tech background, so I'm kind of a science nerd kind of guy, and so dark energy in the universe, 74% of the known universe, and it's like this, almost infinite energy source. Like in comics, they're using dark energy, right? And like, in like all the Marvel movies and whatnot, they're using dark energy, and it's.
So where did the Poseidon come from?
Poseidon was.
He was a dark dude.
Poseidon, he's god of the sea, and so he's like this all-powerful, god of the sea, and Poseidon broke one record that it broke was the first IP68 certified IP68 waterproof charger, right?
Which means dust-proof and waterproof.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And so fully submergible, and so when we hit that rating, I was like, you know what, waterproof's a big thing, and so let's mix that power of Poseidon and the water, and let's call it that.
My manufacturing background involved IP ratings.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
I'm almost as smart as you.
Hey, you're probably smarter than me. You're probably smarter than me, but
well,
start paragliding, dude, and then we'll really.
Okay, now I know I am smarter than you because I don't paraglide.
Well, I want to wrap up, but I want to say thank you for making a good product.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I want to tell Gritty Bowman listeners, we've been talking to you for a while about doing some kind of discount for Gritty Bowman followers, and we came up with something.
There it is.
So folks can go and get 20% off with the code Gritty.
Yep.
When they go and buy a Dark Energy, 15%.
It's Gritty 15.
Gritty 15. That's why I have Chad here. Help me out.
Chad's the operations man.
I told somebody the other day that I'm like, if Chad doesn't know about it, I will forget about it. And that's kind of the truth. Like, Chad's director of operations at Gritty Bowman, and things are so crazy right now that I rely on him a lot. But
because you guys have been killing it, man.
It's been good.
It's been awesome. You guys have been doing great work.
So Gritty 15 is the code. Gritty 15.
Yeah.
And you can get 15% off a Dark Energy charger. And this is just a product I'm happy to promote, happy to encourage people to get, because it's just so usable, reliable.
It's essential, I think.
So,
on the Gritty Angler side, and I know you guys have done this too, podcast, What's in Your Pack?
Yep.
I've done the same thing on the Gritty Angler side. We do a lot of backcountry fishing, and essential gear that's always in our pack. And this is one of them. Absolutely. I mean, if you are going somewhere deep, you need alternative energy power for your cameras, for whatever you're running.
So, Garrett, how much are these retail? I mean, how much are they coming off the site?
So this is $99, and you've got your charger, you got the strap, and your locking carabiner with your it's got these double steel-headed charging cables inside as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so
wrapped in paracord.
Right, you got 20 feet of paracord on there for any situation. And these are just like super durable cables, They're rated for, the cable itself obviously has the paracord on there, but the heads and the cable, the interior cable, are rated for 80 pounds. That's 3 times what, an Apple cable is rated at.
Yeah.
And so, these things are bad to the bone. And
you provide cables for both Apple and Android users, right?
Yeah, and so the one that comes with the device is actually a micro USB.
Yes.
Yeah. We do that because it's the most common cable out there.
Yeah.
And so
if a guy wants to, though, he can buy another braided cable for an Apple.
Yeah, and we have those as well.
Yeah.
Just 'cause, they always have their own cables, so.
Yes.
And so, you can get those as well.
So you're looking at but if a guy wants to come get a charger with a coupon, he can pick it up for $85.
That's right. Yeah.
Good deal, dude.
Sweet.
Really good deal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any parting words of advice? Anything? Any closing remarks?
Oh boy.
Stay gritty.
Stay gritty. Stay gritty, everybody.
Words of wisdom.
Stay gritty. Cool. Well, I want to thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for making a great product.
Yeah, thanks for coming by, you guys. Glad to host you in our home.
Yeah, and people can check it out. Give Dark Energy a follow at Dark Energy on Instagram.
Tech.
At Dark Energy Tech on Instagram. I follow you guys. You got a big following on there. I mean,
it's what? People have been awesome.
Based on your lack of skills, I'm impressed. It's a very, very good following.
This is unfiltered with Gritty Bowman. That's why we love these guys.
It's all love.
Yeah,
we say it because we care. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Stay gritty.